baby, come on. Come on, baby.
Seeing this is zombie land.
Place where people come, unfortunately, to get high.
Yeah.
It's been hot. Crazy shit out here.
Hey, what's up? Hey.
Philadelphia, once celebrated as the birthplace of liberty, now feels like a city of the abandoned. On Kensington Ave in Philadelphia, people lie still along the sidewalks, caught in the grip of addiction and homelessness.
Come on, baby, come on.
The air carries the weight of decay and desperation. This is what some now call Zombie City America, the haunting face of the growing homeless in America crisis. The same streets that once symbolized independence now reveal what happens when a nation stops caring for its own. How did the city that helped give America its freedom become a place where so many people have lost theirs? From the city of freedom to the city of the forgotten. Today, Kensington, Philadelphia sits at the heart of one of the most visible humanitarian crises in the country. The city has an estimated 400 people experiencing homelessness. The number may seem small compared to larger cities, but the intensity of suffering in Kensington makes it impossible to ignore.
Living down here under the bridge, people steal from each other, people use each other, they live disgusting. They throw their needles. It's just too much.
Here, addiction and homelessness collide in devastating ways, turning sidewalks into makeshift bedrooms and alleyways into graveyards of broken dreams. In 2024 alone, Philadelphia recorded more than 1,200 overdose deaths, many of them in Kensington, making it one of the deadliest open-air drug zones in America. Walking through the neighborhood feels like stepping into another reality. Under the elevated train tracks, tents stretch in uneven rows. People curl beneath blankets, some barely moving, others suspended in a daze that makes time feel irrelevant. The smell of smoke, sweat, and chemicals hangs in the air. A woman leans against a streetlight, murmuring to herself. A man half awake digs through a trash bin for something to eat. Nearby volunteers offer sandwiches and Narcan, their faces steady and tired but determined. No one here looks away. Everyone understands that what's at stake is life or death. This is more than poverty. It's the slow collapse of a community under the combined weight of addiction, neglect, and failed policies. And it isn't just about one neighborhood. It mirrors something much larger, deeply woven into the American story. Each tent is not just a sign of someone without a home. It marks a system that failed to catch them when they fell. The dream of opportunity that once defined America has, for many, shrunk down to the bare struggle to survive. Kensington Ave, Philadelphia is no longer just a place, it's a warning. It shows what happens when compassion fades, when punishment is chosen over healing, and when a whole nation looks away. Because here every face holds a story we've ignored for too long. And as the crisis grows, one danger looms above the rest, a new wave of addiction, more deadly than anything this city has faced before. The fentanyl frontline, a new American tragedy. Kensington Avenue, once filled with working families, small shops, and neighborhood pride, has become a front line in a crisis that stripped hope from the streets. People move slowly, weighed down by exhaustion and addiction, and the air feels heavy with sorrow. Fentanyl now rules this landscape. A dose too small to see can take a life, and it has quietly pushed aside almost every other street drug. What started as a cheaper substitute has turned into a nationwide emergency.
And it's a way more intense sickness than fentanyl was. Brown dope was you're hardly getting sick from that. That was like nothing. Fentanyl was a little bit worse, but this tranq is intense. Like you feel like you're literally gonna die.
Across Philadelphia, fentanyl shows up in nearly everything from fake prescriptions to street mixes sold on corners. Its strength and unpredictability make recovery harder and daily life far more dangerous. But the situation is shifting again, and not in a good way. New synthetic drugs are entering the scene designed to be even stronger and more resistant to treatment. Additives like xylazine, often blended with fentanyl, leave people weakened and defenseless, pulling them even deeper into survival mode.
Fentanyl has killed, has taken lives. Every person that sells fentanyl should be charged with murder. Somebody has died because of what they have sold. They're justifying in their own mind why they're doing what they're doing. But at the end of the day, they're still dealing death. They're still ripping families apart, and they're still burying people.
Experts warn that these new chemical variations are spreading faster than health systems can respond, creating a relentless cycle of addiction and loss. Walk down Kensington at dusk, and you'll see people stuck somewhere between awareness and escape. Some sit still, staring at nothing. Others drift from block to block with no clear destination. Each face tells a story of trauma, of attempts to quit, of fleeting hope that slips away too soon. You can feel they don't want this life, but the grip of the drug combined with the absence of real support makes leaving feel nearly impossible. Philadelphia's fentanyl crisis is far more than a public health problem, it's a moral test. It shows what happens when a system fails to provide treatment, housing, or compassion. The issue isn't only chemical, it's social. The people most affected are often those already pushed to the edges, those without stable work, health care, or family support, many already on the path to being counted among the homeless in America. What's happening in Kensington isn't just a headline. It's about human beings, each one someone's child, someone's sibling, someone's friend. This crisis reminds us that addiction doesn't erase dignity. What saves lives now will not be judgment, but understanding. Not punishment, but connection. Philadelphia, once called the city of brotherly love, still has a chance to live up to that name. But that begins with remembering one simple truth: no one chooses to suffer, and no one should be left to face it alone. The people we stopped seeing. Walk through Philadelphia today and it's right there in front of you, people sleeping in doorways, tucked under overpasses, drifting down streets that once felt full of life. These aren't strangers from another world. They are people who once had jobs, paid rent, laughed with friends, and believed tomorrow would be better. Now they're caught in a struggle that feels like it has no exit. Homelessness here isn't a single story. It's thousands of stories, each marked by loss, endurance, and the quiet fight to stay alive. Some were laid off after decades of steady work. Others were crushed by medical bills that wiped out savings. Many live with untreated trauma or mental illness, never given real access to care. When they fell, there was no net waiting, just pavement, cold nights, and silence. On Kensington Avenue, the human cost of this crisis can't be ignored. You see mothers trying to shield their kids from what's happening around them, veterans haunted by memories. They can't escape young people pushed out after coming out to families who couldn't accept them. You see older men and women who should be planning retirement instead carrying their whole lives on their backs. These are the faces of a city that once prided itself on compassion and now struggles to live up to it. Their vulnerability isn't a sign of weakness. It's the result of a system that was never built to catch them. Rents have climbed out of reach. Shelters are full. Mental health care is distant or delayed for the very people who need it most. Rules meant to keep order often push people further into the margins, turning public spaces into places where they are pushed away, not welcomed. For those battling addiction, the path is even steeper. Many treatment programs won't accept people who aren't already sober, leaving them with nowhere to start. So they build their own fragile communities. Under bridges beside train tracks and clusters of tents, they share what little they have: food blankets, warnings about dangerous drugs. In a world that often looks away, they look out for one another. It's a fragile kind of humanity, but it's real. The hardest truth is how close any of us might be to the same cliff. A lost job, a medical emergency, a sudden rent hike. In a country built on opportunity, it can take only one bad break for everything to disappear. Yet we walk past them telling ourselves it's their choices, their fault, or someone else's problem to solve. Philadelphia's crisis isn't just a local tragedy. It's a reflection of the wider Homeless in America emergency and of who we're becoming as a society. A culture that measures people by their productivity and forgets those who fall behind. In the end, the real question isn't who they are. It's whether we are still willing to see them at all. What really broke Philadelphia? When people look at Kensington streets, they often blame addiction or bad decisions. But that's only the surface. If we want to understand why Philadelphia has become one of the most visible faces of homelessness in America, we have to dig deeper beyond symptoms and into the roots. This didn't begin with fentanyl. It began with an economy where rent rose and wages didn't. Over the last decade, housing costs in Philadelphia have skyrocketed, while pay for working people barely moved. Affordable homes are scarce, and the ones that do exist are often unsafe or in disrepair. One missed payment can mean eviction, and once you're out of the system, finding your way back in can feel impossible. It's as if the city forgets you the moment you fall behind. Then there's the mental health crisis, loud in its impact, but treated like a quiet side note. Many people on the streets aren't just without homes, they're without care. Years of underfunding have left hospitals at their limit clinics, understaffed and counseling out of reach. Those living with depression, PTSD, or schizophrenia are often left to navigate the streets alone. When they do seek help, they may find long wait lists, complex requirements, or criminal charges instead of support. Too often, mental illness is treated more like a problem for law enforcement than a condition requiring care. Layered on top of this is the legacy of the war on drugs. For decades, harsh policies punished addiction instead of treating it. Neighborhoods like Kensington were hollowed out by incarceration and generational poverty. Families were torn apart, kids grew up without stability, and hope disappeared in slow, painful pieces. The war on drugs didn't stop drug use, it deepened despair. At the same time, the city itself started to change. Developers called it revitalization. For longtime residents, it often felt like removal. Old row houses were replaced with luxury apartments. Property taxes rose. People who had lived there for years were pushed out of the neighborhoods they built. The promise of renewal became yet another form of displacement. Underneath it all is an economy that no longer protects its workers. The factories and stable jobs that once anchored Kensington are gone, replaced by gig work, low wages, and little security. When opportunity vanished, something else took its place: hopelessness. Addiction didn't create that emptiness, it filled it. Philadelphia's crisis isn't just a story about drugs or encampments. It's a mirror held up to a country that has allowed inequality, untreated illness, and neglect to stack on top of each other until something finally breaks. What we see on Kensington Avenue is what happens when all of these forces collide in one place. So the question isn't only how this happened, but why we let it. Because at its core, the biggest cause isn't fentanyl or poverty alone, it's indifference. It's the quiet decision to get used to suffering, to accept people sleeping on sidewalks as normal, to believe even silently that some lives count less than others, and that more than any drug or policy is the hardest truth we have to face. Promises, policies, and the politics of inaction. For years, officials have stood at podiums and promised to solve Philadelphia's homelessness and addiction crisis. But a walk down Kensington Avenue tells a different story. The crisis hasn't disappeared, it's simply changed shape. Tents still crowd the sidewalks. Overdoses still happen in broad daylight. The same exhausted faces move through the same broken streets. Despite countless initiatives, press conferences, and action plans, the city feels stuck in a loop, always reacting, rarely resolving. Too often, the official response has focused on control instead of transformation. City crews clear encampments, police sweep corners, and soon after come the cameras and statements. Yet within days, the tents return. Addiction doesn't end with handcuffs. Homelessness can't be swept away with a broom. Each cleanup looks more like a performance meant to show progress than a real step toward it. The deeper structural problems remain untouched. On the federal level, the pattern is similar. In Washington, leaders talk about funding strategies and comprehensive plans. But very little of that promise filters down to the sidewalks of Kensington. Bureaucracy slows every effort. By the time money moves and programs launch, the crisis has already grown worse. It's not that no one cares, it's that urgency is always missing. One of the most polarizing ideas has been supervised injection sites, spaces, where people can use drugs under medical supervision. Supporters argue they save lives and reduce overdose deaths. Opponents see them as normalizing or enabling addiction. The battle over the single policy shows how divided the country is over what compassion truly looks like. Do we focus on punishment or on keeping people alive long enough to seek help? While that debate drags on, people continue to die waiting for a solution. In the meantime, the real heavy lifting falls to local nonprofits and volunteers. They pass out food, tend to wound supply Narcan, and offer a kind word in places where government presence is rare. They've become Kensington's last safety net, proof that empathy hasn't disappeared even when policy comes up short. But they cannot hold back the tide alone. Without real investment in stable housing treatment options and mental health services, Their work is like trying to stop a flood with bare hands. Year after year, new promises are made, yet the pattern repeats. Officials tour Kensington, talk about revitalization, then leave. The cameras shut off the speech's end and the streets look the same as before. This is bigger than one city. This is the face of homeless in America, where short-term optics replace long-term commitment, and human suffering fades into background noise for political agendas. The painful truth is that homelessness has been treated more as an inconvenience than an emergency. It's easier to move people along than to change the conditions that push them there. Until we address the real roots housing mental health addiction and compassion, Kensington will stand as a monument to broken promises. So when another plan is unveiled, the real question isn't, what will it cost? It's, will it finally change anything? Because what's on the line isn't just policy, it's people. The question every American must ask. Kensington Avenue is more than a street in Philadelphia, it's a warning flare for the entire country. What's unfolding there isn't some isolated disaster. It's a reflection of who we are becoming. The homelessness, the addiction, the neglect, these aren't random events. They're symptoms of a deeper fracture in America's conscience. Every tent, every overdose, every life lost on that pavement is a reminder of how far we've drifted from the values we say we believe in. We can't keep pretending this is normal. We can't keep scrolling past other people's pain like it's just another clip in our feed. Because the hard truth is this: Kensington is America without the Polish stripped of promises and exposed in full daylight. It's where forgotten citizens live out the fallout of national indifference. And if we don't face it now, this reality won't stay on one avenue. It will spread block by block, town by town. This isn't only about drugs or tents. It's about responsibility. It's about whether we as a nation still have the capacity to care. The greatness of a country isn't measured by its skyscrapers or its slogans, but by how it treats the people who have nothing left. If homeless in America continues to climb, the biggest loss won't be measured in dollars. It will be measured in our conscience. So the real question isn't what will happen to Kensington. The real question is what will happen to us if we keep looking away. Change begins the moment we stop accepting despair as the default. When we stop saying someone should fix it and recognize that we are that someone. If we still believe in freedom, justice, and the worth of every life, then it's time to live like it. Not tomorrow, not eventually, now.